welcome to another episode of It's All in My Headset. It's the brand new web series where we explore the mental health experiences of those within the gaming industry, from the ones that play the games to the ones that make them. We are raising awareness of mental health one level at a time. I am your host, Sheila, Shellder, content creator. Well, used to be content creator. I feel like I'm still a content creator if I'm making this, but I'm a full-time therapist. I'm also one of the clinical board members supporting Safe in Our World. Their mission is to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health in the gaming community and beyond. They want to ensure support can be accessed by those who need it, ensuring practical tools, training and resources, covering burnout, toxicity, self-advocacy, well-being, leadership are delivered. You can find out more about them at safeinourworld.org. Today I'm joined by one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world, an alien queen, unconventional artist who has been playing video games since she was a kid with some of her favorites, including Hollow Knight and Yakuza. Not only has she been previously built a flourishing and inclusive space on Twitch, she has got on her spaceship, traveled through the dimensions, and landed in the world of fantasy. She is turning her content creation towards dice making. I'm really excited for your new business. We're going to talk about it today. With several mental health lived experiences, I am so honoured to have you here. I just want to say,
yes,
I've got the earrings in.
Oh, you do?
I do.
You
They're
can't.
so
good on you. Like, I can't.
Yeah, they're little dicey.
I'm so honored.
Yeah. Alea, thank you for coming on today. I just wanted to...
Fighting.
Of course, I wanted to let everyone know that we had a recording.
We did.
We had a recording.
We did.
And
yeah.
I'm technologically challenged. And and then I found out that I didn't capture any of Alea's audio. So
Beautiful.
We've done many test recordings before this. To ensure that doesn't happen again.
Test. Yes, and and I feel really glad that you want to try and give this another shot, Sheila.
Yes,
and we're doing it again.
Of course. Why, Alea,
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. How are you feeling? What's the vibe today? What's going on with you?
So Sheila, you don't know this, Sheila, but I am today gonna open up my shop. It's either gonna be today or tomorrow. Today or tomorrow. Gonna take the finalized pictures today of some. It's not gonna be like huge. It's gonna be 3 types of dice.
Huge.
But
it is huge.
You could
put on one die set, and that's huge. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so nervous, and you know how it is for an artist or anything when you're debating so much for yourself if something is good enough. So it's because the dice making there's so much more people that have done it for such a long time and have like found the right process, and they're so, as you say, talented, and they're so good and creative. And then you look at your dice and you're like, but mine isn't even close to that. So I had this conversation with myself yesterday, like, are they worthy to be even put on, be put on sale? Or am I gonna disappoint people when they receive the dice that they are not this imaginary quality that I can't do right now? Or should I wait? But if I was talking to a friend that had this, I would be like, well, just because you haven't reached that stage yet, this is a part of your journey. And they are definitely as good enough to be able to be put on sale. And as long as you're very clear about what they are receiving, you're not forcing anyone to buy anything.
100%.
So it's, but just that conversation with yourself.
This is the biggest step. And I'm sure we'll talk about it today, but there is such courage and bravery in having that voice and that comparison aspect of, well, this is the market, and I can see what other people are creating, and I have self-doubts about what I'm making, but what grows you, and I guess what is going to propel you forward, is despite your anxiety, you are doing something you love, and you are trying it anyway. And
I know.
That's like the biggest, that's it. That's you are taking the hardest step, and once you do this, it's only up from here, baby. It's only up from here.
Oh my god.
You're gonna be a famous dice maker. I knew her before she was famous, guys! I knew her before she was famous!
Sheila is the biggest supporter I've ever had. Without her, I wouldn't have gotten this far. I don't think I would have opened up an online shop. I wouldn't have started. I literally would not have started a social media account with my dice if it wasn't for Sheila. You are the sole responsibility that anybody beside my friends have seen my dice. It is the truth.
It's all you. I can't do anything. Speaking of dice, These are
Yes.
Alea's. I'm gonna have to do the YouTuber thing. These are Alea's. It's not gonna work. I'm technically challenged.
It's never working.
Technologically
It's never
challenged.
working.
No, and that's
Like,
okay.
imagine.
These
how
are,
pretty they are.
they're really pretty dice, and Alea made them for me. I love them with all my heart, and they sit on my desk. I mean, I have another dice set that you made me. We made when I was in Sweden. But together. But this dice set is so special, and I keep them on my desk, and I play with them when I'm thinking, and I hold them when I'm thinking, and even when I'm not thinking, I play with them.
I honestly feel so unlucky that but I feel like that is incredible. My original thought didn't come through, and I was like, this is not how I pictured a Sheila dice, but I have put so much time into these anyways. I'm just gonna give.
Alea, for you, I'll be a pink Barbie girl any day. Okay, for you, I'll be a pink Barbie girl any day. Okay.
That is huge. Coming from a vampire girl. Oh my god.
Firstly, who is SpaceAlea?
Now, at this moment, say that SpaceAlea is a former Twitch streamer who spent over 3 years at Twitch streaming daily both art and different sort of gaming, and created a beautiful community. At least I really thought so, and connection with people, until I kind of just very suddenly took a break, and I haven't come back from that break on Twitch streaming, and I'm currently not planning on coming back from that break. So right now, SpaceAlea is going on this little different adventure, as you were saying, with dice. I think you gave me the best presentation in the beginning, honestly. That was basically it. Yes.
We're looking at, you had 3 years on Twitch. What led you to content creation on Twitch? Let's start at the beginning of the journey. Where were you before you went live? What was happening?
So before I went live, I was working at this startup company, and the startup company basically got bought up by a big corporation, and things changed, and I wasn't very happy with the changes. I basically rage quit the day after and said, I'm leaving. This is not good for me, because also I just didn't thrive there anymore, and I felt like the only thing that held me there was if I could get more money, which, like, in retrospect, maybe not the best way to solve a problem where you're not happy with your work life. But so after that, I didn't know what I wanted to do at all, and I was going for emotions of like, I'm not making any money. How am I providing for this household? I was having this conversation with my husband, and he just said, okay, if you could do anything, like, what is the thing that you've always wanted to do? And I replied that I've always wanted to give art a try. And I do want to play video games, but I want to do art. But he supported me so much, and was like, of course you're going to do art, like, do it. And during that same sort of day, I think, I walked into his room, and he was watching another streamer who basically did their makeup and was talking to chat, and I had never seen Twitch before, so I was like, what's that?
Okay.
I know. And he said, oh, it's Twitch, they live stream. And I was like, I can do that. So I also imagined then that I would like set up a schedule for me. So like these times I'm definitely going to work on my art.
Rage quitting the corporate life. I feel like that's a very kind of well-known act of rebellion now.
I realized then, and I realize now in retrospect as well, how lucky I was to have been met with such love and kindness from the start, and such hype that I do have a voice in the art that I'm telling, and there is growth to be had, and people seem genuinely interested to getting to know each other and like see where we headed, and that I could get input from people, like what I could draw if I was having a art block, writer's block.
So you actually enjoyed an aspect of it being collaborative and kind of
yes, I did really
reflecting
much.
your art. Why do you feel like you enjoyed allowing stream to guide your creativity?
I definitely think it comes from a critique of myself, and that you want to pick apart every single thing, and that you don't feel like it's good. The tortured artist, it's not good enough. But then to have people coming in and say it and helping me to draw things that I never would have thought of. If I would have done this, it would be completely different. But now I'm able to just let go so much more because we're doing it together. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. What was the feedback like, I guess, then, once you actually started building your platform on art?
I think the feedback was vast, incredible, amazing. it was nothing but genuine kindness from others. And then again, as the, I don't want to say tortured artist, but it's
No, we can coin it. That's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
but like, yeah, but also like as a tortured artist, even though I understood that the compliments and the feedback was coming from like a genuine place from them and they were really, really excited, at the same time, I could be like, well, chill. Like, it's fine. It's fine. But, you know, I believe that during those moments when I myself didn't think that I deserved that feedback or that hype, I put on, this is the best I can imagine it. It's almost like a block, like a mirror. Like I can say thank you and I can be like, oh, this is really nice, but all of the feedback is like hitting a block and it's not reaching me. Yeah. But me outwards is, of course, like I understand that this person is really thinking this and they want to hype me up and they want to see me evolve and where whatever this drawing is taking us. But me as a person, I think I sort of had I'm glad you like it.
Okay.
And
so it wasn't necessarily internalized. It was more so that you would kind of, I like the way that you said that you would mirror the feedback of like, thank you, I'm glad that you like my caterpillar with an acorn. And then it wouldn't really, what would happen when you would turn off the stream?
I would I would go to my husband and I would say, what do you think? I'm like, I did this, what do you think? and he would say, it's great. I'm like, no, it isn't. And then I would explain to him why it wasn't great. And he would be like, well, he was always trying to be like, I can understand what you're saying. Like, he was very validating of my feelings, but also tried to bring me down another realistic level of, I can see where this is coming from, but also you need to understand the level that you're on. And this is just a part of, where you're going.
So actually, I guess forcing yourself into the little bit of the uncomfortability of like showing your art, showing your work online was, I guess, forcing you to confront some of this self-criticism, not only when you were on camera, because you were like navigating that, but then when you would walk away from stream, you're left with, oh, now I'm trying to process the fact that what I'm seeing feels very different from what my viewers are seeing.
Yes.
How was that different for, because I know you were also gaming, right? You were gaming on stream. So what was the kind of navigation into gaming? How was that experience?
So navigation into gaming was just an egoistical decision that I wanted to play more games, but it also gave me some creativity, like brief room, I would say. Like that would be my, I'm kind of, with gaming, I was able to just sort of like find my center again with my art and like come back at it and looking with new eyes. And also with gaming, as there is so much art to be seen there, it was really, really inspiring for me as an artist. And also it was interactive, so it was super fun. And I love games. I love games.
I remember you streaming a lot of Hollow Knight, although that's not how we met on Twitch. And I came in, you were on a stream singing a Fall Out Boy song with a kind of multicolored layered effect that would turn you into like 5 different Aleas. And I literally I remember you were on my homepage and I clicked in and you were like belting like the explore page, right? You were like crazy belting the song whilst also like flailing your arms in the air, and it was like 10 a.m. for me in the morning, and I was like, this bitch is so cool. And I was like, I want to be friends. I genuinely think for like a month I would just come in and be like, hi Alea, and you wouldn't even know who I was. I think I was like barely streaming, and I just like so bad wanted to be your friend, and it was like going against everything our parents taught us about meeting strangers online and like wanting to be friends. That was like the it's quite interesting that you obviously felt or saw a different version of yourself when you were streaming. Perhaps maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe there was a little aspect of a performance of putting on a different Alea.
Yes.
Right? On the inside, it was a whole different ball game, but as a viewer that didn't know you, I didn't get that at all. Like, I couldn't, that wall that you put up, girl, I was like, this girl is so confident. And I think that's very natural streaming, right?
Of course I put on like a performance. It was also my breathing space, I feel, as a person when things were going turmoil. I was like, okay, here on Twitch, I'm in my little bubble. I can be this person, and it's still me. It's maybe just 90% of me, and the last 10% which is, as you say, this inner turmoil. It was my happy space. That's what I call it. It's like now I have a couple of hours where I can just ignore everything.
As you kind of entered into your last year of streaming, what was changing for you at that time?
I actually think that I got kind of stuck in my tracks and I couldn't see myself getting out of this persona, if you could call it that. I was a different person from when I started streaming to the end of it. My streaming space was basically the same the entire time, even though I had turned different.
That's really interesting. You were cultivating the kind of perfect environment and had done that and were keeping that up for 3 years because it was the space, the creative breath, it was the space there where you were actually taking a step from some of the biggest changes in your life, leaving a career behind, something that you'd worked towards, and then realizing that your aspirations were maybe diverting from this track and you didn't know how to approach that or navigate that. How did you start navigating the change?
I think I started to navigate it really poorly. Really poorly. Looking back at some the last year, like the later videos that I did, I feel like you can really see my mood is going with like the camera, like how light my camera is, because I just realized that I just kept getting darker and darker and darker until it could just
to be fair, I can vouch that like
yeah, that was my mental that was how my mental, I feel like that was a shown of my mental state during the stream as well, and that because I just kept on with this memory that I did love streaming so much and I did have so much fun and I made so many wonderful friends like yourself and there's a beautiful community. I was clutching on like I want to get back to how it was, even though I again had changed. I talked about it with my grandma. that I because she was surprised that I'd been going on for 3 years streaming, because she knows me, I'm a cycle person, like after a while like I do something and then I change it and she was like, oh, you still do what are you doing now? And I realized that as I was talking to her, like I am doing the same thing. I think that I want to keep going right now. And she said, well, as you keep going as long as you want, but don't feel like you have to keep going, because that was also a big part of why I think I stayed so long, is that I felt like I had an imaginary obligation to, I am supposed to be here at these times because I'm supposed to meet my friends, I'm supposed to greet them a good morning. They have put so much time and effort into this community and the channel, and also myself. I owe it to them to keep on.
So you're really prioritizing, I guess, the well-being of the community that you created.
I understood that it had come together through me. So basically, I was some sort of catalyst for all of these people to come together and form these friendships and groups. It felt like I really would let them down and that it wasn't fair to them if I would just leave.
I can imagine that was really difficult for you then, finally stepping away. Perhaps, yourself, you were going through a bit of a change, a period in your life where you were a bit uncertain with what you wanted, and this had given you a focus. Perhaps you felt that your space was also giving other people a focus.
And do you know what's even shittier afterwards, I want to say? I messaged the community basically, I'm taking a break now indefinitely. I did feel such a relief. It felt like, okay, I can 100% now be myself.
If you think about it that way, perhaps for a long time you were betraying your own boundary by keeping it going for so long, right? And so in actually setting that boundary, making that decision, as much as it felt like you were walking away from this kind of persona and I guess this character that had made a promise to certain people.
Yeah.
In fact, you were actually listening to your own boundary and kind of being like, no, I want to integrate both SpaceAlea and Alea as one.
I've never thought about it like that.
We obviously were a mental health podcast, and this is the juiciest part of the meal. Can you talk me a little bit about, or tell me a little bit about your mental health lived experiences? It's a big question. So when I ask you that, I suppose, what themes come up for you?
My mental health journey started off rough from a start, I would like to say. Basically, my father had a habit of falling in love, getting married, getting children, falling out of love, having some sort of mistress, marrying them, getting children, and he did that with my mom as well. So I was kind of the last one that he had. Like, here's the thing. Unfortunately, none of the adults during that time knew how to handle divorce and how to handle kids need to go in different places and also steering their own emotions towards, it's the classic of the mom telling the children of your dad don't love us, he left us. And then my parents didn't introduce me good with the changes that came from when my siblings were there versus when they don't were there. So I had a negative relationship with my siblings as a kid because my world got thrown upside down. Yeah. Like 1 week, easy breeze, and then my sister and brother came there, and all of a sudden all of the habits were changed. I mentioned it a couple of times on stream, but I am one of the few trailer kids here in Sweden because my parents didn't have like a home, like they didn't have a point. So they just traveled wherever they could to get money. So I didn't hang out with a bunch of other kids until I was like 7 maybe. And that was a real challenge for me because I didn't understand how playing works. Like the teachers had a real rough time with me because all I wanted to do was to like sit still and draw. And then when they finally like settled down, they decided to do so in a very small village, which for me, who already was a sort of classic outsider, the emo, like to play video games, don't like what other kids are liking. I had a really rough time. What I remember to make friends and like have friends that share my sort of interest. And then during this same time, so like same village, I was my sexual boundaries were crossed by my then boyfriend. And the next day when I told my parents that this has happened to me, this is gonna sound really rough, but I wanna, like, disclaimer, I've talked about this with my parents, like we're on very good terms now, but yeah, as a teenager to hear that after you've been through something like that and then you come to your parents talk about it, my dad basically said that he didn't believe that someone like that would do it, and that my mom said that I had a way to be dramatic. And that kind of sent me down in a hole deep down the depths. I think that's as I didn't feel like I had the support, or I was still very, I would say, traumatized for what had happened towards me, and I didn't know how to handle that. And then I didn't talk to anyone because if my parents didn't believe me, who was gonna believe me? And also again thinking that we're in a small town, if this came out. But during that exact time, my then best friend, it turned out that she was in love with a guy that I didn't know was in love with me. Mm-hmm. So she started spread rumors to put me in a bad light, which, because that coincided with me withdrawing from everyone and kind of dealing with what I was going through. And then at the same time these rumors were going on, I didn't notice, but like all of my friends kind of scarce and disappeared. And then when I was ready, I guess like a half year later, to like come forward and like talk to my friends about this and be like, okay, I know I've been weird, here's why. There was, I would like to say, no one beside me. And the one who did kind of stay, I didn't talk about it then because I was scared, teenage kid. I was scared that he was then gonna think that I was dramatic and that I was putting on too much and then leave again. So I kind of, again, went into my little shell, and as with nothing really working my way, I started to developing an eating disorder for a very long time until I was 25, going from anorectic to bulimic just because controlling food was the only thing that I could control. And also, during the same time, that was basically like my teenage years and everything. And then as soon as I got out of there, I want to say that everything turned out pretty great. Like from the little village, I was very keen on, as soon as I got 18, I was like, I'm going to apply for university. I'm going to go to a bigger city where no one knows me. And that was great. 10 out of 10. But during this time, my youngest brother then, because of his emotional trauma from the divorcee and not being taken care of, and also having to city and not having really anyone to support him or look after him mostly, he had then started to develop a drug abuse, which then also led to when I moved that he owned a group of people money that were famous for trying to take the money from relatives. So they were like looking up his mom and etc. So when that happened, as I moved, I had to basically I have to take away my contacts from like my Facebook, that I was siblings with these people, and trying to navigate that as well, because I didn't have good role models on how to handle if someone is going through an addiction. And then to sort of, as soon as I moved, I don't want to say severed, but it was basically a severed contact from the people, like the ones, like my sister and his mom. Like I couldn't contact them anymore. That's how it felt like, at least, and that's how I remember it. And I just didn't know how to handle any of that.
Yeah, it was a little bit like it sounds like a domino effect almost. I think, at a young age, experiencing someone crossing boundaries, physical boundaries in that way, not having any support after that is, it's a rupture of your roots. And it's, as someone with a similar experience, I think it really, it changes you as an individual. It changes everything about your understanding of boundaries. Quite interesting that you spoke about boundaries before, and like learning about putting yourself first and prioritization, because from a young age your experiences of that weren't happening to you. You weren't given the space to put a boundary, and then when your boundary was crossed, you weren't supported and you weren't validated that a boundary had been crossed. So it was almost teaching young Alea that my boundaries don't matter, right? Like my boundaries don't matter.
Yeah.
I think it makes then sense that obviously you developed an eating disorder, which is about control, isn't it? It's about, I have no other aspect that I can control, but what I can do is what's going into my body. And it's really interesting that it's a disorder about the body, again, right? From an experience where your body has been, crossed. It's so disturbing to hear that happen to you. It's so disturbing.
It is.
And I appreciate you sharing. So,
give me the courage. Yeah.
That's no, you. It's your narrative. I think there's an empowerment in being able to talk about something like that that's happened to you, right? Okay, with the eating disorder, you had that right up until 25. Were you still struggling with the eating disorder when you were streaming?
Oh, so no. Back then, until 25, I would say, because I then moved into my husband, I couldn't hide it anymore. That was basically the reason why I had to get well from my eating disorder, because now someone would be in my space.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just be like going to the toilet or like skip lunches. And so I was very clear from the start with Anton when we moved in that, okay, I am actually, so you're gonna notice this, but I do have an eating disorder and I don't know how to fix that. And luckily for me, Anton was very educated in nutrition, basically. He was very great on relearning me of like, okay, this is the things you do need. You need protein for this, you need carbs for this, you need sugar for this. It wasn't that it was any emotions or I have to deal with anything. It was more like, okay, but you do need this in order to function. So I could see it in a more factual way. And then he didn't have any, so lucky, he still doesn't, because I still do this. I did this yesterday. I'm always asking him, is this a good portion? I just need a validation of, is it my eating disorder to think this is good, or am I effed up from not knowing how much I'm supposed to eat? Like, what is this? And then he always looks at it and say, it looks good.
Oh.
It's like, you can look, and then it says, you can look at mine. This is how much I take. And I'm like, okay, now I have something to compare with.
Yeah.
We sort of, yeah.
So you actually, so it was more to do with the healing came through your relationship. Did you end up going to therapy or anything for?
I did too. So at the same time, I don't want to say charity, but it is like an organization that is called Big Sister, where you get to, where you can write in if you're having any sort of eating disorder, and they will match you with someone that has similar experiences. So you just have someone to rely on, and they will tell you what they did. and their journey that they had. And I got very luckily paired with someone that was perfect. She was so good. She normalized, this was the biggest thing she did. She normalized every weird thing that I ever did with my eating disorder, like how much I ate, what I ate. She made it so casual in a way of like, oh yeah, we've all been down there, you know, you eat those cookies and then you eat the whole package. And like, you know, and it just made me feel normal.
Validated.
Validated.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to Anton about it, he couldn't understand it. And he was like, this is fucked up. And I'm like, I know, it's fucked up. And then she came along and was like, yeah, I also did that. Mine, for me, broke my world. I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone.
Oh. I mean, we are all in charge of our own healing, but sometimes when you haven't had the experience or you're not taught how to heal, you have no idea what that looks like. And so you were kind of, again, trying things and trying to figure out on your own without a map, right? Like, I think sometimes we think that healing is taught or understood by the people around us, but what happens when you don't have, or you're not given some form of a map to what that might be? So, you know, like another child is going through an eating disorder and they might go to their mum, who might go, oh, that's not normal, let's go to the doctor. And then the conversation starts. But what does healing look like when you don't have that in front of you? I mean, I think it's amazing that you navigated that on your own, which is incredible. And also that you had all of that behind you when you then came on stream, and no one would have any idea that was behind you.
But this is what I'm talking about with you also opening up a space where you're able to open up, because you are really good on like finding, you make connections and dots towards how I guess how I am, as you say, navigating through the world and trying to solve problems. And you're also so patient, Sheila, with me finding the right words, that it gives me courage on trying to find them and express them. So I want to say back to you that
you're very kind.
You're amazing.
You're very kind. No, I'm here for you. But
I know, but I just wanted to have it said already. Okay, you've been saying so many nice things.
Thank you. I actually wanted to kind of bring it, if you feel comfortable to. Okay, so the eating disorder, you're navigating that with your partner, with your peer support. You had a sibling, your brother.
Yeah.
Who was going through a very difficult time.
He did.
Talk me through a little bit about what happened with your brother and the impact of that.
A little just cultural, but also government society information about Sweden is that we don't have a good program for any addicts, and they are basically treated like criminals. So it is very clear in Sweden that if you use a drug, you're an abuser and you are committing a crime. So what happened that instead of my brother getting great health care in order to help him through his drug addiction, it sort of came from a part of like, he had a really difficult time to ask for help, because if he did, he would then be directly a criminal and could then be interviewed by the police and put into prison. Because it was on so many people money as well, they had to move him from place to place, like from home to home basically, which is supposed to work as an addiction facility sort of, but it's not based on any real science. And to put a bunch of, in my expression, junkies in one room, what are they going to do? What are they talking about? who are they gonna seek out once they are considered to be drug-free enough to be out in society? And also being in this space where all of his friends are in some way using or abusing drugs. He faced some real hardship of losing many of those friends at an early age. And I think that took way harder on him than he himself liked to talk about. So just now, a year ago, or I don't remember the date actually. I had been to Gröna Lund. I had been to an amusement park, roller coasters, and I was having a great night together with Anton, and we were just about to ride Voi or like those scooters for the first time in Stockholm, when I get a phone call from my mom, that my brother had decided to end, and he had committed suicide. And I just remember that as soon as the phone call was over, because she wanted to call me, so I didn't read it on Facebook because people were very quick on writing on Facebook for some reason. Yeah, I just remember that it was like it just became like a vacuum. Like I couldn't see anywhere around me. I could see Anton because he was standing right in front of me, and when I saw him and the phone call was over, I just started crying. And then as we were outside, and we were very close to our park, we could just walk around the park in the middle of the night, and I think that really helped me to just then process my emotions, to just walk a little bit. And then we got home, I got some sleep, and the next day I started streaming. Shit. Yeah.
Do you feel like that was the shock reaction? Do you think that was the...
Yeah. I think that was I need to get back to normal. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm doing. I am streaming. Sort of, yeah. Sort of. Because I know you too had a sort of shock.
Okay,
yeah.
No, yeah. No,
yeah.
Very similarly, like, grief is very strange. Firstly, I mean, unimaginable loss and pain. I don't think it's strange that you woke up and streamed in moments of complete turmoil and shock. Our brain is really good at looking for coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And very similarly, my dad passed away in November last year, and I was on my way to work, and my mum, like, I think in her shock,
Yeah.
she texts me.
Oh, shit.
I think it was such a big shock that my mum messaged me, and she said, you know, he's dead. And I laughed because I remember thinking that it was a joke. And I messaged my dad and on my way to work, and I was like, oh my God, like, you know, I was trying to call him, and I remember I was like messaging my dad, and it was one ticking on WhatsApp, and he wasn't answering the phone, and I went into a complete like panic, freak out, and in the middle of the street I was like hyperventilating and sobbing, and people were asking me if I was okay, and I carried on walking through people, and I wasn't saying anything, and I walked to work, and I went into work, and I sat down at my desk, similarly just in a mode of, my brain I think was not really understanding. Obviously my colleagues were then, you know, I spoke to them and told them what happened, and they sent me home immediately. But when you have an incident of complete shock, I feel like your brain doesn't know how to process.
Nah. Nah.
So when you were streaming, I mean, did you didn't you didn't mention it?
No, I never mentioned anything like that on stream. Which I did during several times think about that I was going to mention it, and I like 5 different posts that I was supposed to post on Discord, saying that I was taking a break or something, or that I needed a second, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle anyone else's loss or grief during that time. So every time I was about to say or anything, I was afraid about that it would kind of be like a floodgate. You we would open up the store, and all of a sudden, all of the other people's emotion would come.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle that, and I don't think that it would have been in a supportive way for me either. So, but it is at that moment, I think, when things during stream as well started to become, when the stream camera started getting darker and darker.
I suppose it was because although the initial shock was to get on with life and to get on with your normal schedule, there's an aspect
100%
of avoidance, right? And the grief is like sitting behind you completely.
Yeah.
And what was happening when you were turning off the camera? What was going on?
I think when the camera turned off, it was sort of like just managing. It sounds so bad. Managing. I would say managing. Yeah, but I think it mostly just was me managing and trying to figure out what I can do, which I couldn't. I couldn't think of anything then, and I just felt very locked in place, I think.
Do you feel like your grief has like transformed? Do you feel like it's changed at all? Like,
yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
I would say so. I think my grief have changed from guilt to now to I think now looking back, I do believe that my brother knew that I loved him, and if things yeah, sorry, I don't know.
No, it's
I think the emotion has come from feeling a lot of guilt. Oh my god.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard, Sheila. It's so hard. So I feel like this is so difficult for me to explain because it's that my feeling had gone from feeling guilt that I could have, should have, would have, etc., all of those, to now have a sort of peace with that. I believe 100% that my brother knew that I loved him and that he had nothing but love for me. And if we were given different tools, and if things would have gone differently, or, there's so many different paths. Basically, I do genuinely feel if things would have been different from us from the start when we were kids, we would have been best friends today. And I do believe that he knew that. And that is a sort of peace for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people talk about the grief journey as being really linear, of like...
Oh, what?
Well, sometimes they say, that the stages of grief are very linear.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
You go through denial, and then you go through guilt, and then you go through anger, or however it's laid out. And I find that I do not go through each stage in that way. I find I'm constantly swinging back and forth on like...
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
On some days, it's like... the guilt is like... immeasurable. But I think it's really beautiful to talk about that they... Sorry.
No, I don't apologize.
That they know that you loved them.
Yeah.
And like trying to hold on to that, you know, when you have the other stages.
And believe in that thought.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's, I think there's beauty in... I watched, I don't know if you've seen Fleabag. This is really random. But I rewatched...
Oh my god, I watched one episode. I know what Fleabag is.
You need to watch the whole of Fleabag, right? Because I rewatched it. I've seen it twice now. I've rewatched it recently. And there's a big theme of grief in Fleabag.
Oh.
And she talks about how, and I think this has been said, but how, like, her grief is... I don't know where to put all of my love. Like, I have all of this love and I don't know where to put it anymore. It's her, like, talking with her best friend, and her best friend says, give it to me. I'll have it. It sounds lovely. Like, give me all of that love, you know? And it's almost, seeing the tears and the grief and the pain is... having all of that love, not knowing where to put it.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
It is.
I really appreciate us talking about this. It's weird talking about grief, and it's such a bodily reaction.
I know, it is. It is. I appreciate the talks too.
So, yeah, I think it's, I think grief is a really interesting, especially when it's something so close to you, I think, unless you've experienced losing someone that's, like, very close to you, it's different. It's a different experience. I mean, I've lost great-great-grandmas and, like, you know, like older family members that obviously I was sad when they passed away, but perhaps I didn't really have that deep relationship connection with them.
Yeah.
So it's very different when you lose someone that you love just with all of your being, and actually that they probably contributed to making you who you are and your experience.
And it's been with you for years.
Yeah, also I know you said that, like, with your grief, you know, that perhaps if you had different tools and techniques, things would have been different. I mean, you were loving each other in the way that you knew how to, and a lot of us aren't really taught how to love, you know, or what that looks like, or how we should be loving. So the fact that you had the beautiful relationship that you did despite your early experiences is a testimony to, again, your character and the connection and relationship that you had with your brother.
But this is so interesting that you say, because I give the full credit to him, because there was no ounce of evilness in his little soul. He was always wanting and did see the best in everyone that he met.
I think we feel all differently. I'm sure that being your friend and being loved by you is an amazing experience, and you are so giving with your love and affection, and it radiates from you, and I'm sure that he would have felt the same way. I know he would have known that, and you would have contributed to that relationship.
Well, do you know what? Okay, so have you seen La La Land?
I have.
Yes. Okay. So in the ending scene where you've seen the whole movie, they have their things, etc., etc., and then at the end of the movie, he plays this melody, and you get to see how things are different.
They see each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And he plays this melody of, like, if I would have said this here instead, if we would have done this instead of this here, but still they both know. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically like that. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
The love was enough. No matter
the
how
love was
the
enough.
love was enough. No matter how what was said or what wasn't said, or it was enough.
It was. And it is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and I believe your love is enough. Your love was enough with him. You know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So.
Yes.
I feel
Next question.
the love is with us in the room. I really appreciate you talking me through your experience of grief. I know that some of us have been through it, are going through it. It looks differently for everyone. You moved away from streaming. Let's kind of, talk about this big monumental event happened. You've lost someone very close to you. Perhaps it shone a light on the aspect of streaming that was becoming unfulfilling for you, and you were having this whole thing happening behind you, and you were trying to continue Twitch and keep it going. What I thought was interesting earlier, you were speaking about being a trader kid. And you were very used to things like changing and like picking up and kind of moving around, and by the age of 7 that was when you were kind of actually starting to settle down. I think it's really interesting that your grandma then was like, oh, you're still streaming, and you were like trying to make streaming work, because your whole life perhaps you've been really accustomed to things changing and like things not being stable and consistent, and so perhaps you were really trying to remain in this belief, I can make things stable, I can make it work for myself, I can keep at something and not change, because you said sometimes it was like a cycle.
Oh my god,
right?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
But you were I'm battling against that, I'm gonna make this consistent thing. And I think it then makes sense that you were just in this turmoil of like, well, I do want to change this, and that makes me nervous because I want to prove to myself that I can make something consistent. You then shifted away from Twitch and you start discovering the world of fantasy. What inspired, firstly, the shift from streaming to Dice Maker? Creating physical game pieces instead of digital content.
I definitely think the shift was that once I was done with the digital art piece, it was done, and then it was posted on socials, and then you just moved on to the next. But I also wanted to sort of keep the art that I did, so I moved over a little bit with clay stuff. I have this guy. Speaking of Hollow Knight.
Oh yeah!
Put him over here.
I remember you making that!
I know, it's so good! I love it so much. I love it so much. But that's the thing! Now I know you can print digital art and put it on your wall. I should maybe have done that. But like now, it's something I can touch. And it's like reading me every day.
It's literally like you with your hands, you crafted that. That's crazy. I can't even draw a straight line.
You can. I bet your wriggly lines are the most beautiful, perfect wriggly lines I've ever seen. Okay, but so I started doing clay, and that was really fun because I get to use my hands, and afterwards there was like a piece I can touch it. Yeah. And at the same time about this, I think we started to watch Critical Role. This is because of Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate. Shit. That was my and Anto's first introduction to D&D, and it was, I don't know, I love the game. I love everything about it.
It's fucking incredible. It's the best game.
I know that when I played, I had really much the sense of, okay, whatever, that is what we're gonna go through. While Anto was like, no, let's save here, and then if it doesn't go our way, we can. And I'm like, no, random.
We must stick with it.
So got into the D&D train, got into Critical Role, and then I met up with an old high school classmate of mine, that basically came up to me and said, do you play D&D? And I just tried to kept my enthusiasm because we hadn't talked to her for years. And I was like, no, I really want to. So if you want to play, I would love to play. And so I made my first character, play a little bit with them, but life happens. The group kind of got dissolved, and that's when they came back to me and asked if I wanted to DM because I didn't then cover my enthusiasm about. And that's of course when we started to look for our first dice for this first D&D session. I saw these molds out of dice that was next to the dice section, and I had already resin from other projects, including this one. So I was like, wait, I can make my own dice. Like I can do this with these molds. And that is how the journey started. And to roll a die
that you
best
have made.
feeling.
That you have made.
That I made, and you can, you can look at them. It's beautiful, it's magical, and also with dye, the more you get into it, there's so many different steps, which I think is so good for me, because you can make the mold if you want to. I'm doing that as well, but you need to pour the dye, you need to send it, you need to paint it, and then for social media, take photographs of it. Like, there's so many different steps that all goes together so much with where's my mental being today? Do I just want to sit and paint some numbers, or do I want to put on a podcast and just sand the whole day, or am I feeling really creative and have this idea and I can create the dice? It's just so many steps, and I really enjoy those different steps.
It's consistent, but it allows you to have that creative breath that you clearly really value, of like not being locked into one type of thing, but you're still contributing to the finished. Gone into playing D&D, gone into dice making. I've seen Alea make dice when I visited in Sweden. We made dice together, and she taught me like a pro. I had a whole gas mask on and everything. It was so fucking cool. And then it was amazing, but really intricate work. Not only just painting the lines, but pouring the resin and making sure the color is the right amount. Otherwise, the resin, like it's like being a little mixologist or like an alchemist. Literally trying to figure it out.
And I love that you put on your little outfit, as you say. Like, you gotta put on the mask, you gotta put on the gloves. Like, you look like it's the Breaking Bad scene going on right now.
We were like making meth, but it was dice.
Oh my god! I know, but I've been actually thinking about this, because sometimes I do it at the table that is right by my window where my neighbors can look from the balcony. And I've been thinking about, they've never asked me, but I know that they've been seeing me with this mask and just like...
You've heard it here first. It's no longer SpaceAlea, it's Walter White.
It's
Heisenberg. When did you realize that you wanted to actually make it into your business?
I feel like D&D right now is perfect for where I am and where I wanted to be for such a long time as it is. You're hanging out with friends and telling stories. I personally feel like I have been missing that part of me for a very long time, being creative and stuff. And I did get so much outlet from it when I did digital art as well. But here it's the interaction of, this is happening, how do you respond? And seeing how, because the one thing that you will know, or that you will find out, at least in my sake, is that my friends are fucked up. They have the most fucked up imagination in the way that they're like, oh, I'm gonna put this knife, and I'm like, okay, so you're halfling, this is a big orc in front of you. Where do you put the knife? It's like, I'm gonna sneak up behind and put it in his ass. I'm like,
tell the bum story.
Okay, basically, it was the day before, the session before, my players had gone scavenge hunting, and one of them found mushrooms and was like, oh, these are edible mushrooms. He didn't know what mushrooms they were. I rolled on the dice to see what kind of mushrooms they were, and they be this magical mushroom that makes you weave. So I had everyone make a Constitution saving throw, and everyone except the barbarian failed the Constitution saving throw. So the barbarian didn't fail anything, but the other two, the bard and this halfling rogue, saw everything and had amazing dreams, and were feeling sweaty and all of that. And the day after, the bard and the halfling rogue started to talk about their experience. No, I actually think that this mushroom was good for you. And one of them goes, no, I don't think it actually was. Then the barbarian says that I don't think that's great for your stomach. I feel fine in my stomach. So I'm like, okay, everyone, it is time for your morning shit. You need to draw
what a way to get them going.
Yes.
You've had your coffee, now you know what comes next.
I know. So it's like, okay, everyone is gonna do a slide of bum, and we'll see how great your shit is.
Because I think you made dice for your group, didn't you?
I did. You
are making dice for the group that they are playing with, creating a narrative for them. It's like the art that you made and you drew, you're bringing to life in a different way. What do you think the kind of impact on your mental health has been now that you're much more in the fantasy world? Not only that you're DMing, but you're actually now starting your own dice business.
Yeah, I do generally believe that the shift from going from solely almost being online, and then what I've been seeking for a long time is to meet, face to face, has had a real positive impact on my health. And it's almost like I'm rekindling so many friendships through this. And also just the amount of joy that seems to be from my friends as I'm like trying to gather all of their interesting ideas into one cohesive story has given me so much power in believing that I can tell this story because they believe in me, which is really, really cool. And also with the dice making, I feel, again, because the community I had, thanks to gaming, Sheila, by the way, one of the biggest dice makers said something about that they were playing a bug game, and I, on a trance, wrote a DM like, I am also obsessed with Silksong. And it turns out that they are a huge Hollow Knight fan as well, and we just started bonding and talking a little bit, and it just made me feel so happy. And then from nowhere, this person that I believe is a master in the craft of making dice came in with such positive affirmations, reinforcement. About that they were very excited to see where my dice, where my dice setting is making, and it's just been, I think it's been really, really good. Even though, Tortured Artist is still there thinking, oh, it's not good enough, leaving it for a few weeks and like, okay, it's pretty good.
You're not working against that voice. Now, you're not trying to create a different version of yourself to almost silence that, right? You're working with the voice. I think the response, the growth has changed. It's like I'm listening to the voice and I'm saying it's there and I'm acknowledging it, but I'm still doing the craft and I'm still sharing it with my loved ones, and I'm going for it anyway, and I'm not having to create a different person. And I think acknowledging that in your TikToks, because you make TikToks of the process, you also include the times when it doesn't go well. And that, comparing to your stream, which is I'm not showing any flaws, I'm not showing any difficulties.
Wow.
The growth is there, that you are welcoming those difficult parts of the creative process, but of your journey.
Yeah. And I think that, oh my God, I think this is me healing my inner child. Because I'm like, this is what I would have loved to see when I started to make dice or any sort of art. This is,
I would love,
wow.
I want to see I want to see all of it. I want to see the great bits. I want to see the bits where it doesn't really work so well. I think that's what makes it so intentional, and each piece is a product of that journey that you've been through. I mean, these dice are a product of you and the journey that you've come from in every aspect, from childhood to going into streaming, to leaving your career, going into streaming, entering the world of Baldur's Gate, learning about grief and what life is meaning, and this is a product of you, of that journey. And so is every dice that you make. Where do you see your journey going from here? What's next?
What's next? I am looking forward to, especially now when it's getting colder, autumn, no one has as few plans as the winter time here in Sweden, because there's nothing to do. So I'm looking forward.
I thought you want ice skate and fucking lakes and shit.
But it's cold and we're over 30. If we get on the lake and fall, there's legs to be picked up across the street. It's done. Over.
I'm dying. Yes, there's lakes, but we're over 30, okay? And it's cold.
Yeah. And just keep on finding all of the little things that makes the dice I make so much more greater than I could have ever hoped for. Yeah.
You are.
That's what I'm excited about.
Inspiration. Listening to your story is so empowering. You are literally the manifestation of do not fucking give up and follow your dreams. I know that's cheesy, but that's exactly what you're doing.
And I'm very lucky to be able to also. I'm very lucky.
You're starting your business, throwing out the very first pioneering pieces. This is huge, and we need to give space for that, for this moment for you. Is Life-changing.
It is.
Life-changing.
It's so scary.
If you
Yes.
could speak to your younger self, where you are now, that inner child that you said that you feel like you're healing, what would you say? What would you say to her?
Oh, I don't know. I would honestly, Sheila, if I saw my inner child, I would just hug her. I would just hug. I don't know. I don't know if I would find any words. Just hug him. That's what I would do. Yeah.
I think that love is enough. I think that is enough, right?
Oh my God, the love is enough.
Thank you so much for talking to me today. It was
Oh,
an
thank you.
emotional journey.
I know.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. Well, I feel so honored to be your friend, firstly, but I feel so honored that you
I feel so
wanted to-
lucky for you to be my
Oh,
friend.
I
Okay.
feel lucky for you!
I know. I'm gonna tie back. It's gonna tie back to because, as you said, like I didn't know who you were, Sheila. When you started saying hi. I didn't remember you saying hi much at all. Like I have no recollection of that. I didn't know that you were a friend. But then on a day where I needed to raid someone and I didn't know, someone said you should raid Shellder, and I was like, who is Shellder? And I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's just raid. Didn't even look you up. I was like, cool, someone says something. Yes, let's
Love that.
with our new friend. Go over there, and you're in your cow costume, and you're dancing to Doja Cat. And I, from the bottom of my heart, screamed and said, we need to be. I want to be friends with you. You have no idea, but you're so cool. You're so amazing. I just want to
I love
really
how
be
you saw
friends with you.
someone in an inflatable cow costume and your response was, she's so cool.
She's so cool.
Like-
but it was the fact that you just went for it and you were looking so confident and oh my God, I never seen anything like that before a stream. So I was in emotional shock of being like this. I'm supposed to leave, but I don't want to leave. And then you started screaming like, Alea, I know you. I'm like, how do you know me? Why haven't you told me that you know me so we can know each other? Like, why? And that was the start of our beautiful friendship.
That was the start of our beautiful friendship. You were an alien with Fallout Boy, and I was a cow with Doja Cat. And apparently that's all you need to start friendship, guys. Get yourself an inflatable costume and a good song, and that's it.
That's it.
That's how you start.
The good peeps will just come flocking around you and you will make a friend for life,
Yeah.
honestly.
Thank you so much for sharing your amazing journey and adventure with me. You are inspirational, and I cannot wait to watch you grow and flower even more.
Oh,
I think this is going to be such an amazing adventure for you. I'm so excited for you. I'm going to link all of Alea's shit down below. Please go and check out her stuff.
But thank you, Sheila, for creating this space for all of us so we can talk about all of these hardships difficult things and what is going through in our head. Set. It's great, it honestly is. You'll be the best host. The best host.
No, stop.
No.
Thank you so much for being here. Guys, from me, from SpaceAlea, have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Thanks for watching.
A
Take care of
beautiful
yourself.
intergalactic
And,
sunny day.
Buy her dice! Buy her dice! Buy her dice!